In 2023, Microsoft laid off 10,000 workers, roughly 5% of their workforce, citing macroeconomic uncertainties for the move. Then, throughout the next 2 years, later in 2025, another 15,000 employees had been terminated. Now, in 2026, we're looking at another 4,800 job cuts, of which 3,200 alone will come from the Xbox division. Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Now, it truly sucks to be an Xbox fan these days, and today I really want to go over a couple of statements that have come out throughout the past week, where all these layoffs happened and all the announcements were made, look into what the community has to say, and go over a couple of important things to keep you up to speed. So, first off, what happened? For those of you who are not constantly following the news, on the 6th of July, earlier this month, the CEO of Xbox, Asha Sharma, announced the most significant restructure in Xbox history ever. In her post called Resetting Xbox, she explains how the business is simply not healthy and that they are operating at margins 3 to 10 times lower than their competitors. Following up on that, they will let some studios go to become independent again, such as Compulsion Games, Double Fine Productions, and they want to shift focus more into, quote, Activision, Bethesda/ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. They will also, for the first time, implement a Chief Operating Officer, a COO, which to me sounds fucking ridiculous. Like, why didn't they have that in the first place? Now, how does all of this come to be? Well, while the underperforming Xbox division certainly plays a role, this shit doesn't just happen in a vacuum. Initially, Sharma actually received some praise for lowering the price of the Game Pass, seemingly stirring Xbox into the right direction again. But of course, there's a bigger picture to look at. As I mentioned in the beginning, there were many layoffs throughout the past couple of years already, so Xbox has been course correcting for a while, and Microsoft in general. Many people are saying that Microsoft hired way too aggressively during the COVID times, during the times back in the pandemic, in order to scale up their business. And when teams grow too fast, that I can speak from my own experience here, workflows and processes simply suffer with that. Especially when you had a weak foundation to begin with in terms of, processes, tools, and all that stuff. Maybe reporting lines as well. It'll become even more apparent when you increase your headcount. It's always like that. Let me know in the comments if you've seen that happening in your environment, in your job as well. On top of that, Microsoft's heavy commitment to AI isn't paying off yet, and those costs need to be recovered somewhere. So reducing the headcount is often the easiest and fastest way to appease your shareholders again. Further, the Xbox Game Pass lost millions of subscribers after the price hike in 2025. I cannot find the article anymore, but I read it in the Wall Street Journal online that Xbox Game Pass was expecting 70 million subscribers for 2025, but after the price hike, they lost millions and ended up at around somewhere near 30 million subscribers, which of course was a terrible failure for them. And last but not least, the rampocalypse and general fuckery with pricing this year, with all the price hikes, making the Xbox an even less attractive choice for gamers out there or for gamers looking to upgrade or enhance their setups. It simply isn't a good deal. Now, it's important to know that 1,600 of those people have already been fired throughout the past week, and another 1,600 are yet to be let go in the coming year. Now, you have to imagine what that means. These people are still going to work, still having to work on projects, on games, from everything from programming to design and much more. And they do not know whether they're going to be laid off any moment throughout the next year or not. It must feel terrible coming into work, not knowing whether it's your last day or not, but you still have to keep going, you still have to perform, you will still have your performance evaluations, your one-on-one conversations with your superiors and whatnot. It is simply going to be a terrible work environment. I feel really sorry for them, and I wouldn't want to trade places with him. Now, that is not to say that there aren't a couple of good things on the horizon for Xbox. The fact that Asher Sharma is cutting into all these layers of management, getting rid of this unnecessary bloat, seems like a really good thing to do. With less management layers, you can simply row the boat faster. You can make faster decisions. Things that need to be pushed forward take much less time than they would have taken in the past. Now, that's a really good thing. And on top of that, you also have the upcoming Project Helix from Xbox. Now, I didn't dig into this too deeply yet, so I can't really say too much about it, but I have looked at this article from Jason Ronald, the vice president of Xbox, where he basically says, quote, "Our team is deep in development on our next generation Xbox console, Project Helix. We are pushing the boundaries of rendering and simulation in partnership with AMD, using FSR to power what comes next. Starting in April, Xbox Mode will begin rolling out to Windows in selected markets. It brings a familiar Xbox experience to players while keeping the flexibility and openness of Windows." So, ladies and gentlemen, Xbox as a brand is not going to disappear overnight. There are new things on the horizon. The CEO is drastically cutting into the bloat and useless levels of management, apparently, that are present or have been present so far in the company. That's going to make sure that decisions are going to be made faster and things can just be pushed quicker. It makes the boat row faster altogether. And from my experience, that is a very good thing, a very good step to do. Lastly, I want to look into some of the comments with you guys, because as always, the community contributions are always gold. And it's something that often really grounds me when I read on what other people are thinking or what they are saying. And I picked a couple of comments here, and I would like you to get opinionated as well in the comments. Let me know what you think, if you resonate with some of them or not. And I'll just give my 2 cents to a couple of those. So I think this was in response to a Linus video on the topic. He says, "There's a third option, which is hire responsible. Hire some people as your prospects grow. Don't hire endlessly as if the good times will never end." Very clever. Absolutely for that. 14 management layers is absolutely bananas. It's incredible anything got done with that kind of structure. I totally agree. Like, I can't even believe what I'm hearing when I heard that, and the fact that there was no COO all the time along. How is it even possible? How can a gigantic company like Microsoft, like Xbox division, not have a CEO, have 14 layers of management in some aspects? I absolutely cannot believe it. I'm baffled. This is absolutely idiotic. J Money here says, "I think we have to remember that Microsoft doesn't create jobs so people can put food on the table. They're making the line go up for shareholders, and people having livelihoods is an incidental result of that line going up. If they could make the line go up without giving anybody a damn thing, they would do it." Yes, they absolutely would. Like so many other companies out there, and that's why they're betting so heavily on AI to be able to replace as many people as possible. This isn't about empowering you in your everyday life or making your work faster, easier, or more efficient. This is simply about ultimately replacing you and thus saving personnel costs. Nothing more. Leonhard says, "Man, I remember when we crashed their website unsubscribing from the Game Pass after the price hike. Good times." Good times, my friend. "Remember when competition actually meant getting better games or platforms? Now it's just who can get away with the best minimum viable product, the best MVP." It's true, it's true. Before you say, "Hey, wait, this doesn't even fit the topic," I think this was in response to something where they said, where Shawarma said, "Hey, we want to focus more on our key franchises such as Fallout and whatnot." And the idea here is that they really need to continue bringing out these big franchises, and they will do so in a cost effective, fast and efficient way. And I think this comment is basically exactly telling you what they're going to do. And I've worked in a SaaS company, and I know exactly what that means. You want to bring out a product to the market as quickly as possible. And as we've seen so often throughout the years in gaming, you are basically the beta tester. They're gonna come out with whatever Elder Scrolls 6 early access version, pre-purchase, so you can play a month earlier, and in reality you're the bug tester. I was there when the Elder Scrolls Online was released as a game master, and you have no idea how many important bugs they were still open. Well, maybe you do if you played initially, but it was terrifying how many broken things there still were. So yeah. Now, this one is dear to my heart. Vordus here says, well, so that's part of the shell game though. You lay off employees at the end of the year, then hire a bunch of replacements over the course of the next. That way you cut down on having to pay long-term benefits and raises. You mollify investors. Mollify? I don't even know that word. Anyway, by having massive annual cost-cutting layoffs and drive down wages for the industry overall. So, yes, as wild as this sounds, it's absolutely true. This is how many call centers work, many customer support environments work, and many other teams as well. You have peak times throughout the year where your company or your team is particularly busy, but when it's not peak time, for some companies that can be summer, for others that might be the winter months or whatnot. It depends on the company really and the products that they distribute. Physical or digital, doesn't matter. You can simply lay off people, because you will not be needing those extra hands, and laying those people off might even grant you as the manager a bonus, because then, well, there's less personnel costs to pay for a couple months. We call this a ramp down, and once you are in need of extra hands, you know this in advance. Your forecast says, I have 15 people, but historically, we need 25 people for the winter months because of Christmas business. You will then start hiring people in October, educate them, train them so that they are ready to, be fully in place by the end of the year. And then once Q1 starts, Q2, you think of how you fire them. It's unfortunate and it's stupid, but many companies just want to keep a core team where the knowledge and the experience sits. Very unfortunate, but it be like that. Now let's have a look at a few more. So you see, the reactions aren't really in favor of Xbox right now, of what they are doing over there, especially that 1 billion users per day target that Asher Sharma mentioned seems utterly ridiculous. It's actually fucking delusional if you ask me. But, hey, you gotta dream big, I suppose. And last but not least, I wanted to show you this article that I found, which states, after announcing layoffs at Xbox, CEO Asher Sharma gets a new role advising the US Fed on jobs. Now, this has to do with efficiency and implementation of AI, but it's just always so baffling to me how these big shots and big titles come into a company, restructure it, cut thousands of jobs, believing they can reach 1 billion people in the next couple of years with their products, destroying the livelihood of thousands of people who work their asses off for I don't know how many years, simply laying them off, and then be offered another high-paying job, this time within the government, if I understand this correctly. Sorry, I'm not from the US. But it's fucking baffling to me. It seems like the more you fuck the small guy in the ass, the higher your payout will be at the end of the day, if you're willing to do that. But, well, that's about it from my side. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.